Greetings to one and all. Myself Kishore, IoT engineer R&D team from Minion Labs. This is eighth episode of the webinar series on energy efficiency, which will, as usual, happen on every Fridays at the same time. That is 4:30 to 5:30. Presented by Minion Labs, along with its academic partner, IIIC of Christ University. Today's webinar will be recorded and then made available on YouTube and also on Minion Labs website. You can go through later this video also. Energy efficiency series episode 8. So let's take some time and recall what are the topics we have discussed in previous episode. That's basically industry 4.0, the introduction of it, and then the problem statements, everything we have discussed. So that comes industry 4.0. So industry 4.0, it's towards a new phase in the industrial revolution that mainly focuses on heavily in interconnectivity, automation, machine learning, real-time data. So there are some 12 fundamental concepts about it. That's enterprise resource planning, ERP, IoT, industrial IoT, big data, artificial intelligence, machine to machine, digitization, smart factory, machine learning, cloud computing, real-time data processing, ecosystem parameters, and cyber physical systems. And we also seen that cyber physical system is one of the main important factor that affects the industry 4.0. And coming to next, smart manufacturing. We have seen the supply chain management optimizations in the industry 4.0, right? So this provides more efficiency and more optimization to a business aspect in terms of money or in terms of time to market. And also coming to the product side, it also helps in predictive maintenance and analytics. So we can predict the analysis of some particular product in prior and take some actions to make the betterment of the product. And coming to the third point, it's asset tracking and optimization. So this basically it's one of the industry 4.0 solution which help manufacturers to become more efficient with assets training and management at each stage of supply chain. So coming to its raw material basis or conveying basis or logistic basis or quality basis or inventory basis. So with help of this IoT placed at the factory, employees can get better visibility into their assets worldwide. So we have seen how the business in the industry 4.0. So nowadays the investors are like mainly focused into industry which has implemented a 4.0 operations and 4.0 technologies, and then it's growing rapidly over a decade. So and then we can expect some trillion of dollars will be invested in coming next 5 years. So industry 4.0 as a digital transformation and manufacturing production. So here we have seen three main things. That's what is industry. So it's a like revolution from the first industry, like first to last. It says even more, the automation should be more than the automation increased compared to the third industrial revolution, and it's bridging a physical and digital layer to a cyber physical systems which make use of enabling the industrial IoT, a shift from central industrial control systems to a smart products. So data and optimization across the value chain. So in CPS systems, these are the basic and enables new capabilities in areas like product design, prototyping, development, remote control services and services. So which in turns maintaining condition monitoring, proactive and predictive maintenance. So we can track the real time data of a particular appliance or particular device, that giving some insights whether to like install or not in the prior time or not. So the integration, there are two main integration to the 4.0 particularly. That's vertical integration and horizontal integration. The first is vertical integration. So whereby all the system in the traditional automation pyramid are affected from the field and control level to the production level. So the production rapidly increases, operation also rapidly increased, and also enterprise planning. So the second is horizontal integration. So here we have seen end-to-end value chain from the suppliers to the process to the prosumers. So in whether it come to IT department, IT systems like product development or production stage to logistic stage, distribution to ultimate to the customer, end-to-end. So next is we have seen like view of industrial revolution from first industrial revolution to the last. So what does the first industrial revolution says, or what it was having? So which is really it's actually it is a revolutionized stage in a century ago. So where the people got more employment in the such particular part. The main thing is in Germany. So the times there were steam engines and much more big plantations. So second industrial revolution is typically seen as a period where electricity and new manufacturing invention happens. So instead of mechanical, they have shifted to the electrical conveyors, like some, for example. So in third industrial revolution, here comes the internet, the rise of computers, the power of computers. So and the robotics, where all these mechanical and electrical part takes place automated and then does its own thing. And coming to the fourth industrial revolution, so we are just in edge of it. Internet, it's completely a machine to machine, so no man interference or nothing. So it's changed completely physical environment to the digital environment. It's basically a bridging towards digital to the physical environments. And we have seen now maturity states of this industrial revolution, where it follows like productivity, flexibility, quality, and speed. And workforce of the future in terms of industrial revolution. So maybe in coming future there will be more and more employment needed for building the industrial revolution 4.0 in the present technologies. So we have also discussed some of the challenges and risks that are commonly from the industry 4.0, which says a definition of the strategy. The strategy till now it's not like firm. It's varying depend on industry to industry. So second comes rethinking of the outcomes. Like uh, though the man is not interfered there, the machine to machine is not exactly giving what the man needs. So that's one of the challenge again. So third is understanding the business case in terms of industry 4.0. Fourth is conducting successful pilots, because now the people are not giving permission to conducting the pilot in terms of 4.0 technologies. So come and then change management or company culture, and then interconnection of departments, etc. So, coming to today's episodes, we'll continue from where we left in the last episode. That's where we ended up with challenges and risk. Now we'll see what are all the benefits and how to overcome those challenges and risks, and then what are the strategies that can be implemented firmly. Benefits of Industry 4.0. Whether it's Industry 4.0, fourth revolution of industry, smart industry, or industry internet, industrial internet. So these are all the common names that you can call. So we have seen some risk and challenges earlier, and then now, and also advantages from the Industry 4.0. So what is the main advantages which overcomes this factor like risks? The essential goal of Industry 4.0 is to make manufacturing more productivity. So, on related industries such as logistics, faster, more efficient, more customer centric, while at the same time going beyond automation and optimization and to detect new business opportunities and models. That means implementing new technologies, getting people who can build those technologies. So most of the benefits of Industry 4.0 are like similar benefits to the digital transformation of the manufacturing, the usage of IoT in manufacturing, operational and business process optimization, information powered ecosystems of the value, digital transformation overall. So it's bringing up, it's the changing to the like conventional method to the digital transformation. So enhanced productivity through optimization and automation. So, as mentioned, like optimization of the process of the productivity is first benefit of the manufacturers. So optimization and where the optimization and production is more, so there the business comes into a picture. So it's also one of the first goal of Industry 4.0 projects. In other words, saving cost, increasing profitability, reducing waste, automating to prevent errors and delays, speeding up the production to work more in real time, and in function of overall value chain, where speed is more crucial for everyone, right? Because the product of the demand is there, but the speed of production is less. So this is the first benefit of Industry 4.0. So digitizing paper based flows, being able to make things faster, and then production to be more accurate. So it's the low hanging fruit, it important, right? On top of the research conducted by BCG, we are we mentioned earlier, like we are discussed in the previous episode, saying the investments are done in these areas to first priority. Again, it's not coincidence, but spending perspective in number of use cases to the manufacturers invest their IoT budgets in manufacturing operations. So till now, about 102 billion dollars in total, and then 178 billion dollars across the manufacturing industry in terms of IoT people have invested till now. So second benefit is real-time data for real-time supply chain in a real-time economy. So while we just mentioned optimization, automation, enhance productivity, but the real-time data is also one of the benefit to increase these production and optimizations. So a lot of productivity improvements benefits are rather about the internal goals, right, of the cost, process of optimization and extra. So at the same time, fit to a perspective of enhanced customer centric also important. That's real time demand with the customer and the industry. Industry 4.0 is about the entire life cycle of a products, and manufacturing obviously doesn't stand at its own. So if you look at the entire value chain and the ecosystem in which uh, manufacturing operation resides their stakeholders involved, right? So the stakeholders always, these are the customers. So these people are always needed what is going on what time. So the tracking in a real time is more important to give the customers what the products they want in a faster and increasing expectations. So the demand also increases, and obviously economy will rises very rapidly. Speed is not just a competitive advantage and the customer expectation in an increasingly real-time economy. It's also a matter of alignment, cost, and the value creation. So moreover, it should be very simple to expect from the customer side. So once again, a crucial role of data and information surfaces is about the smart factories, supply chains, informed customers, alignment, etc. So the more data you gather early on the entire value chain, the more customers comes to you and then get the things done. So we'll discuss this in deep in three dimension in coming in this episode later. So higher business continuity through advanced maintenance and monitoring possibility. So to increase the business even more further, we have we have to consider the advanced maintenance and then monitoring. So when an industrial asset gets broken, it needs to be fixed, right? That cost, it can be cost time, money, or very often a lot of moving around by supporting people and engineers. So when a key industrial asset such as industrial robot in a car manufacturing plant gives up, is it's not just the robot that broken, production is affected, costing loads of money and unhappy customers, so people don't get the product in time. So it's everyone's worst nightmare, as business continuity is an extremely high concern. So nothing should be breakdown in between. That's one of the highest risk. On top of that, replacement and fixing or maintenance to be ensured to the customers. Resource and cost, reputation can be damaged. It also can damage reputation. Orders can be cancelled. With each hour that passes by, money is thrown away, right? So as and when you delay, as and when you make a delay in building or manufacturing, the money lost, money expense will be more, and then loss of money will be more as well. So if industrial assets are connected and can be monitored continuously and in an advanced method, so the IoT and the issues are tackled before they even happen. That's where this predictive came, right? So alerts can be set up, assets can be proactively maintained, the real-time monitoring and the diagnose become possible. Engineers can fix these issues as soon as possible. So moreover, patterns and insights are gained to optimize in areas where things seem have a less issue. In terms of assets, it's more concern. Better quality products for real-time monitoring, IoT enable qualified improvement and cobots. So we mentioned that customer wants speed. That is speed in terms of production, chain, etc. However, that doesn't mean that they are ready to trade quality for speed. So it's not only the factor of speed that the customers comes to you. So it's more than that. So if you have everything in your production system and its border environment hooked up with sensors, softwares, IoT technologies, systems of insights, and the customers, you can also enhance the quality of the products. So not only the speed, also the quality. So automation definitely play a big role here, and so do the typical components like CPS, that is cyber physical systems, and the Internet of Things, whereby quality aspects can be monitored in real time, and robots can like robots errors will be less than human errors. So on the flip side, and one of the risks and challenges to tackle, as mentioned earlier, the more you automate, the less work for people in theory, but not actually, because to make more automate, more work to the people again in the backend. So, and the same goes for another other mission benefits such as maintenance. The less you need engineers for support, the less support engineers you need. It's a dilemma and known issue which we'll see in this episode later. In the meantime, do you know the robots are going to take all the human jobs over soon? Ample companies have increased the usage of robots, at the same time hired more, because robots now they don't create robots, human are creating robots. So as and when the more robots are required, the more humans or more employees need to be there. So the reason we mentioned it in the context of quality is that this is certainly one area where you see cobots popping up. So the cobots is again in the Amazon warehouses and all. So this is the like arm of the cobot, so which take care of all the manufacturing production by itself. So better working conditions and sustainability. So this is also one of the major factor. Not only time, not only quality, it should be sustainable, not to cause anything to the environment when you speed up things, when you build more. So talking about people, the human or the social dimensions is ubiquitous in industry 4.0. Moreover, if you look at the possibilities and benefits, that human, social, and even environmental aspects is the key in the goal. It's the key in the goals of Industry 4.0. It's one of the main factor. Improving working condition based on real-time temperature, humidity, and other data in the plant or warehouse. Quick detection and enhanced protection in case of incidents. Detection of presence of any like harmful gases, radiations, and so forth. So better communication and collaboration possibilities, a focus of enormous clean air and then clean factory initiatives is more required. So personalization and customization for the new consumer. Excuse me. So we all know it. So uh, consumer behavior have changed. So digital tools have changed the way we work, shop, and live. So people have also becoming more demanding, among others, which regards to fast response and timely information deliveries. So as mentioned earlier, so take sports shoes for instance. So once a few colors of the same shoe were enough, now we want the ability to customize them in whatever way we want. So customization is one of the key factors. So on top of that, another phenomena is taking place, and it does disrupt to the traditional supply chains, right? So consumers increasingly get possibilities to have the direct interaction with the brand and its manufacturing capabilities. So digital platforms to customize products as mentioned, shortened routes between production and the delivery, possibilities to create, and so on. In many manufacturing environments, these things are already happening. For example, Amazon, they have e-commerce from past decades. And it's not just in a consumer environment. We increasingly see customization in a B2B context as well. Even if we stick to a particular label and add a custom feature or adapt any characteristics of the products whatsoever, so the changes is more often going on. So if you want to offer these services at the scale, even in turn them into a competitive advantage, automation and several technologies to process the industry 4.0 became more necessity. A real-time example, without disclosing the details, a large bank wanting specific office equipment. So it wants its own customized office equipment. It's not built in so far to use across all its branches with its own look, feel, and feature as part of rebranding. So there are plenty more examples like this. Improved agility. So now that we speak about competitive benefits and customization, we also need to tackle agility, scalability, and flexibility. Like it's kind of easy to access. That's the so the same scalability and agility which we expect from supporting IT services and technologies such as cloud are expected in manufacturing. So this is partially related with the previous topic, that is customization, but mainly is about leveraging the technologies like big data, AI, robots, and CPS to predict and meet seasonal demands, like long-term demands. So fluctuation in the production, the possibilities to downscale or upscale, in other words. All the adjustments that are sometimes more or less predictable can be made more predictable, also can change the prediction according to the things we need. So like digital transform, okay, the development of innovative capabilities and the new revenue models. So here comes the business which they want to play in all these industry 4.2 technologies. So digital transformation, as you can read in our like you have already know about this digital transformation things, what are all the major level steps and capabilities. So you can also transform process specific functions, customer service experience and skill sets, but in the end true value is generated by tapping into new, often informative, intensive revenue source and incomes, enabling innovative capability, for instance in a deploying stage or a service stage. So in the end, industry 4.0 is all about that. So it is all about what you want to actually manufacture. So these are all the internal development innovatives that are development phase, production phase, logistic phase, and distribution phase. the main strategy and the implementation. So now let's just simply compare and see what is between the digital transformation and the role in it of the industrial Internet of Things IIoT, which along with the evolution in mechanics, engineering and manufacturing. Essentially, it's a 4.0 updation again. So digital transformation, although being academically looked upon, despite of what is existing in numerous digital transformation frameworks, also they are updating every now and then. So just like digital transformation and IIoT, adaptation of 4.0 happens in an individual context of the organization. However, Industry 4.0, which is about more than automation in manufacturing, and ultimately also shows a vision of transformation in the end, right? So is thoroughly studied, prepared, and presented by big platform and all like companies, big MNCs, etc. So just like digital transformation, Industry 4.0 requires a staged approach whereby the initiatives in the earliest maturity stages and areas ultimately lead to a realization of a integrated vision and reality. So it as opposed the digital transformation, that vision and reality is far more studied and then far more documented because it's in an earlier stage. uh, the Industry 4.0 holistic strategy challenge. So while some organizations have more or less consistent in these strategies with regards to Industry 4.0, so not yet implemented, lack of strategies proves to be one of the major challenges as it does in so many business areas. So again, in most of the industries have the plan but not yet implemented. It's taking a risk kind of, whether they don't know it will be succeed in the production or manufacturing phase or not. So there is a big gap between those companies that have a long term strategy and the rest. So on the other hand, it needs to said that those so-called lighthouses are often active in the industry. So the truth is that most organizations don't have an Industry 4.0 strategy and also suffer from strategic short-term missions. This isn't even that surprising since as some brand strategies have been shouting for a long quite years till now, overall focusing on too much short-term goals. So but in a real time, it's lagging to implemented and then act. CPS, Cyber Physical Systems, the building block of Industry 4.0. So CPS mainly includes like gatherness of the new capabilities. That's system health monitoring, structural health monitoring, track and trace, remote diagnose, remote services, and remote control. So this is a basis of Industry 4.0. So CPS are the combination of intelligent physical components, objects, and systems with embedded computing and storage possibilities, which get connected through networks or any wireless networks and or enablers of the smart factory concept of Industry 4.0. So this is driven by again IoT data and service scope, which a focus which is the main focus is here. So simply put, all the terms indicate CPS refers to the bridging of digital, that is cyber, and then physical in terms of industrial context. So what is CPS mission mainly? So this might seem complex, but then again CPS is itself a complex. So moreover, this isn't a better known in way of engineering and industrial context. It fits more in operational technology, that is OT side of the converging IT OT, which in which it's typically a 4.0 or industrial internet. So if you want to understand Industry 4.0 or industrial internet, so you should know all the essential things such as operational production and mechanics in terms. So CPS in the Industry 4.0 weaved are based out of our latest control systems, embedded systems, and also an IP addresses, which has this own particular thing to link between the networks. So CPS and its main key characteristics. Uh, so we'll see much deeper what are this key characteristics of CPS. CPS are seen as a next evolution. So next evolution in what? In manufacturing, mechanics, and engineering. So the essential dimensions are bridging of digital and physical, which is possibly thanks of internet technology and the bridging convergence of information technology and operational technology, ITOT. So next, CPS can communicate. So they have intelligent control systems, embedded softwares, and communication capabilities to over the networks as they can be connected in a network of CPS. So the CPS, imagine that physical devices which is connected over a network, and you can access it, and then you can monitor it, you can see it. So CPS can be uniquely identified. So they dispose of an IP, which I said it's a unique for each and every devices, can be differentiated between what is what. So CPS systems have controllers, sensors, and actuators. So this was already the case of previous stages. It was there in industry of 3.0 also it was there, but not the not in the digital world. The actuators is already there, the sensors is already there, but not in the digital system, where you can control the physical systems. So however, as we'll see, the IoT, generally it's IoT plays an important role thing. CPS are the basic building blocks of Industry 4.0 and enables of the additional capabilities. So in manufacturing, such as track and trace and remote control, we see the CPS comes into the picture, and it's a main key characteristics again. So the capabilities which are responsible to thanks to CPS systems enable the smart factory, smart logistics, and other smart areas of application, among others in energy, oil, gas, and utilities. Industry 4.0 building blocks, that is Industrial Internet of Things, IIoT. So it's a kind of IoT and the CPS are the similar. They possess the similar characteristics. Again, the presence of an IP address by definition means that CPS as objects are connected to the internet. That is internet of that objects. That is Internet of Things. An IP address also meant that CPS can uniquely identify within the network. So which is what? So this is the key characteristics of Internet Things as well. So CPS also equipped with sensors, actuators that we saw. It's connected to the internet, so it's called IoT. The IoT consists of objects with embedded and attached technologies that enable them to sense data, collect them, and send them for the specific purposes. So depending of what the goal the customer has provided. Maybe it can be movement, location, presence of any gases, temperature, health conditioning of the device, and endless. So what are all there, we can get everything from that in a real time wherever you are. Next comes smart factories, smart plants, and smart applications. So it's a new divergence of Industry 4.0, the core enable of the smart logistics and so forth. Indeed, the IIoT, beyond its simple aspects of sensors, actuators, and communication capabilities, we can also perfectly compare with the Internet of Everything, weave of connected objects, people, processes, and data as the building blocks of smart applications. So it is another key similarities between the CPS weave of Industry 4.0 and reality of the industrial things. That's key of Industry 4.0 again. So to conclude, in fact, like you can call CPS that is nothing but Internet of Things. in which the industrial IoT in manufacturing. So the CPS and IoT are de facto more than its twins. So it's mutually integrated. Industry 4.0 and RAMI 4.0. So RAMI is derived from name is derived from Germany. Again, it's generally a term industry. So it's even it's originated from Germany again. Even if you have EU countries use different terms like intelligent factory, future industry, digital production, or smart manufacturing. So all this means the same. It's a RAMI or industry 4.0. So the three-dimensional of RAMI model show the production object must be tracked across its entire life cycle. So this RAMI is categorized into three-dimensional way to present it. So key elements of RAMI. So the main key elements are horizontal integration that we already discussed in the previous episode. Vertical integration, again we have discussed that as well. The technologies of CPPS, that is Cyber Physical Production System. So CPS we know, we already discussed. So CPS in a large scale or large quantity in a supply chain, it's called physical CPPS. So the consistency of engineer across the entire value chain. So the new social infrastructure of the labor or work. Everything to be redesigned for this industry 4.0. So that the main three dimensional that we discussed about RAMI 4.0 or industry 4.0 consists of first dimension is hierarchical levels. Second covers the life cycle and the value stream. Third and final dimension covers so-called architecture layers. So this hierarchical dimension, the main hierarchical dimension consists of 7 aggregations level. That's the connected world, the enterprise, work centers, stations, control devices, field devices such as sensors and actuators, and products and end products. So the life cycle and the value stream dimension. Second part, second dimension. So the life cycle and the value stream dimension, as term already we discussed in the data mapping stages across relevant life cycles, RAMI 4.0, and across the entire value chain to till from the customers, from the production to the customer end users, that is stakeholders. We'll see what is more into this, starting from pre-production development, product data model, starting of at the idea level of the development, data on among all the across future production. It's end-to-end value chain. The third dimension is architectural dimension, consists of again 6 major components. That is the enterprise and its business purposes. Second, the function of assets. Third, the required data. Fourth, the data to be communicated, the communication as access to information. Integration as quotation or code transition in the real to the digital world. So the last major component is assets as a physical things in the real world. So bringing all these dimension together, it's a great visualization that one of the RAMI 4.0 design. The automation pyramid and new business models. So as mentioned previously, we have seen the automation higher efficiency is much needed, and then time to market again. So although that is easier said than done, so it's easy to tell, but to do it, it's a prior goal to the industrialists to bring it up in a real time. So new business models based on a data, these more aspirational goals of industrial transformation mainly revolve around the service dimension, so-called automation pyramid. So the topmost layer of this business model, or this automation pyramid, is ERP, and comes to MES, SCADA. These are all the tools to enhance or optimize the production or scalability. And then comes to PLA and the deeper layer, that is physical layer, that's input and output signals. So in this level one, sensors and actuators connecting what should be connected, right? So the first layer is first layer of this automation pyramid concerns about sensors and actuators, where the data is actually sensed and actually collected. So the first layer is essentially consists of product. It's a hard physical device, and the manufacturing assets and the components which become more information carriers. So like I said, it sends the data from something and then it carries to something else. It's a physical device that they can be addressed locally or identified through sensors which are connected globally. So pretty much the foundation of IoT indeed. It's a basic foundation of IoT. So connect what needs to be connected to sense, what needs to be sensed, bridge digital and physical, and the lay of foundation to the next levels. So level 2 is systems and internal services. That is mainly consists of this monitoring stage and management stage. So here we meet some application level applications such as energy monitoring and the monitoring at the and the management of the systems. So on the condition of assets such as machines, buildings, infrastructures, and so forth. In other words, mainly monitoring and management itself our next step in the mind. So we do monitor for a reason, right? That is to enhance, to understand, to build new capabilities. Although it's more part of third level, you can imagine, that is application to the end side, whereby you can always use this for an instance, find ways to monetize based upon the performance. Level 3, connectivity, connect for new applications and capabilities. Adding the additional layer of connectivity, whereby not just assets are connected but also the data and the monitoring systems. We then come to IoT and IP service models. So initially these maintenance, tracking, and other applications are often focusing on internal operations, but of course some became additional revenue sources when they deployed or offered to our customers. So after things going to the customers, we'll get to know what more to be enhanced, or what more to be offered. So based to improve our revenues again, and then lowering cost, like giving service and support to the end users. Level 4, new services and ecosystem, that is transformation stage. The fourth layer finally is where you can leverage the capabilities and services and the data intelligence. You have really transformed your business model with these pyramid services depending on the context. So these could range from applications enabling the consumers to tailor the goods that they actually want or sell in advance to come up with the new revenue streams. So it's also here that you can start developing new services that mean a significant shift in your core business by aggregating data intelligence from your intelligence systems, that you already have the information, what to enhance, what not. And it's also here that we have industrial IoT, that is IIoT, data exchanges and monetization platforms. In this stage, it's not that much the technology that limits what you want to do, but your vision and imagination as well. So Industry 4.0 design principles. It is often resumed in 6 so-called design principles, majorly essential to service as part of Industry 4.0 vision. To make these guidelines like clearly, we'll see, like so these are all the six principles that to be followed. That is first one, interoperability. Now and then also referred to interconnection or simply connectivity. Second, information transparency. It's also visualization of the data or virtual entities. Third, decentralization, all into autonomous decisions or autonomy. Real-time capability, accessibility to the real-time environment, and then real-time studies. Technical assistance. So it's like we discussed previously. Technical assistance comes in of predictive models again. So where you understand the data when the device gonna get into some trouble, and then give some technical assistance in prior to stop that. And service operation, that is human to machine interactions. Modularity, the final principle. So we'll see some of the things in much detail, that is interoperability, interconnection or connectivity. All three are like similar. In order to move into intelligent manufacturing, smart factories or connected industries, that is man to machine and much more. To bridge all this, we need cyber physical systems, CPS. So you need to bridge IT and OT. You need to have the assets such as machines that can connect and communicate. Thanks for our sensors and IoT actuators and more, much more. So this indeed mainly have an Internet of Things to broader in perspective of Internet of Services, Internet of People, Internet of everything generally. So it connects anything to in everything. It's like that. So data transparency, that is information transparency. So here it is the capability of the information systems and cyber physical systems to simulate and create virtual copies of physical words elements to the creation of digital models that are fed by all the data you want through sensors or operating and interoperable things. So without this information transparency and virtualization are not possible, as the information needs to be put in a context and the system or context aware combining information from other sources as well. So the CPS of Industry 4.0, you could say it need information to form the virtualization of the digital systems or physical environments. Decentralization, autonomous decision and autonomy. So only then the agility and flexibility need to able to deal with uncertainties. Response to demand of personalizations. The concept of smart factory and its place of interconnected systems. The required data analytics and these various logistics can be enhanced to speed up the production, to increase the quality and much more. Real time capability. So this is one of the major key role. So advanced analytics, the IoT and the information of the production systems in the smart manufacturing environment, its broader context of collaboration and ecosystem are already in a development phase of real capabilities. So what can we do at that particular instance? So it's only a logical that on the level of data turning into a actionable intelligence and actions or decisions, and on the other level to the process to increase the overall manufacturing logistics and smart factory operations. So there is a need of real-time capability, flexibility, predictive maintenance, being able to quickly replace assets in this case of failures, but to do some the real-time capabilities like IoT or CPS to be implemented. So overall, Industry 4.0 is the result of tipping point of technology innovation. This groundworks combines of very revolutionized technologies like IoT, cloud, big data, and much more. This industry promises to change the way business is done. Business models will be redefined, more processes will become automated, and organizations will optimize the value chain even further. So they can reduce the cost much more. So in this competitive environment, our organization, we will want the benefits of Industry 4.2 to be developed and implemented as soon as possible to improve revenue and profits and offer better customer experience. So thanks for joining and being here for today's episode. Have tried to explain all the factors and key strategies that are applicable for this Industry 4.2 mainly. So if you have any queries, you can put it in the chat box. Something. Okay, if you have any queries, you can put it in the mailbox. We'll reply there itself. So see you in the next session, that is on next Friday, 9th April. Same 4:30 to 5:30. Thanks for being here. Bye.